All right, let's jump right into a topic that is just fascinating. It's where the fundamental laws of the universe meet, well, us, life itself. We're talking about biophysics, a field that asks a pretty huge question. What's the physics behind being alive? So, to really get a handle on what this is all about, I've got a question for you. And it's a bit of a weird one. I know. It sounds like the setup for a really bad joke, right? But stick with me, because there is a genuine scientific thread connecting all of these things. Believe it or not, we can understand each one using the exact same set of tools. And that set of tools, that's biophysics. It's this amazing field that takes the hardcore rules of physics, things like motion, forces, energy, and electricity, and uses them to basically reverse engineer the incredibly complex machines that are living things. This slide really gets to the heart of it. Think about it. A star, a rock, and you. We're all made of the exact same stardust, the same atoms. The magic isn't in the parts list. The real miracle of life is how those parts are put together, this incredibly intricate, dynamic dance. And biophysics, that's the science trying to figure out the choreography of that dance. And because life is just so complicated, you can't look at it from just one angle. Biophysics really shines as this bridge, connecting worlds of science that we often think of as totally separate.
Yeah, it's not just one thing, it's a total fusion. Here's a way to think about it. Biology is great at asking what is happening inside a cell. Chemistry comes in and explains how it's happening with all the reactions. But physics gives us the why. It explains the fundamental forces and energy rules that make the whole thing run. And math? Well, that's the language we use to write it all down and make predictions.
And you can really see that fusion in action here. Just look at all these terms. We've got stuff from all over the scientific map. Diffusion, quantum mechanics, imaging, molecular motors. It's like this buzzing, vibrant meeting place where scientists from totally different fields team up to crack biology's toughest nuts. Okay, so that's the what, but how do scientists actually do biophysics? What does it look like on the ground? Let's pop the hood and check out their toolkit. This is the key idea, right here. Biophysicists don't just sit back and watch life happen. They get in there and poke it, they prod it. They use the laws of physics as their actual tools. It's kind of like being a mechanic for the machinery of life. You've got your wrenches, your scopes, your meters, but they're all based on the fundamental laws of the universe. First up in the toolbox, just basic motion. See, down at the molecular level, nothing is ever still. Everything is constantly jiggling and bouncing around. It's called Brownian motion. This constant dance party creates stuff we can actually measure, like heat and pressure. So by clocking how fast molecules spread out in a liquid or how they react when you heat them up, biophysicists can figure out really basic things like their size and shape, and they can do it without ever needing to see them directly. Next tool, using forces to push things around. All molecules have mass, and many have an electric charge, right? So you can manipulate them. You can stick them in a centrifuge and spin them like crazy, using immense force to separate them by weight. Or you can apply an electric field and watch the charged molecules get pulled through a gel. How they react to that push or pull tells you a ton about their mass and their charge. We're using big external forces to learn about their tiny internal secrets. And this might be the most powerful tool of all, light. And I mean the whole electromagnetic spectrum, not just what we can see. By firing a super focused beam of X-rays at a protein, scientists can look at the pattern it makes when it scatters and build an atom-by-atom 3D model of that protein. It's incredible. Or they can tag molecules with these tiny fluorescent markers and literally watch them move around inside a living cell. So you're not just seeing what the machine looks like, you're seeing it in action. All right, so we've got the toolkit. Now let's see what we can build with it. And what's so cool about biophysics is that it applies everywhere, at every possible scale of life, from the huge to the unbelievably tiny. And we're back to the penguins. So get this. To keep their nests from getting, well, disgusting, penguins have to shoot their poop pretty far. Biophysicists actually studied this. They calculated that penguins generate rectal pressures way, way higher than humans do. They're using the principles of fluid dynamics and projectile motion to get the job done. It's the perfect, if slightly gross, example of physics solving a very real biological problem. Okay, let's zoom in a bit to the microscopic level. Think about a simple plant leaf. Biophysics helps us understand the physical structure of its cell walls, how stiff they are, how porous. It also explains how these tiny little pores on the leaf, called stomata, physically open and close to control water and gas exchange. And this isn't some passive thing. It's a physical machine driven by pressure and fluid dynamics inside the cells. And now let's go all the way down to the molecular scale. This is where some of the most mind-blowing stuff is happening. Down here, we can see that proteins aren't just little chemical blobs. They are literal machines. They bend, they twist, they push, they pull. Biophysics is the key that lets us figure out their 3D shapes and understand exactly how they work as tiny motors or pumps or messengers. So where is this all going? What's the next big thing? Well, let's look at two of the absolute frontiers of science: cracking the code of the human brain and watching the intricate ballet of our own DNA. There's this incredible subfield called neurophysics, and this quote nails it. It's all about bringing the precision and the quantitative methods of physics to study the nervous system. At the end of the day, our neurons are electrical and chemical systems, and neurophysics says, okay, let's treat them that way and see what we can figure out. And this approach has been an absolute game changer. It's helping us model everything from how a single neuron fires off an electrical spike to how massive networks of those neurons process information. It's even the reason we have amazing technologies like fMRI, which uses powerful magnetic fields to literally watch the brain think. And it's not just the brain. Using these super advanced microscopes, biophysicists can now literally watch the molecular machines that copy our DNA, and they can do it in real time. I mean, think about that. This is one of the most essential processes for life, and we get a front row seat to see it happen, molecule by molecule.
And this lets us see not just how things work, but what happens when they go wrong. So check this out. During normal DNA copying, you have these key proteins that are working smoothly. Now, if something just blocks the path, they kind of pause and wait patiently. But if the DNA strand itself is actually damaged, the whole system changes its behavior. One protein breaks free and starts moving around, while another stays locked in place. It's basically sending up a physical red flag, signaling there's a serious problem. It's this kind of dynamic, coordinated teamwork that biophysics is just perfectly designed to uncover.
Which really brings us to the final big picture idea. Life. It is, without a doubt, the most complex, the most elegant physical system we know of in the entire universe. And biophysics is our quest to find its instruction manual. As we keep applying the basic laws of physics to the tiny machines inside our cells, you just have to wonder, what incredible discoveries about health, disease, and maybe even the definition of life itself are we just on the verge of finding?